Hello and welcome. I'm NBG and welcome to my channel. I just wanted to make a little bit of a quick PSA kind of video about a couple things in today's video, and it's really simple and straightforward. I just haven't seen enough people talk about this, so for anybody who doesn't know this information, I just kind of wanted to get it out there. So it was posted quite a while ago. I think it might have been back on the 21st or something. But there was a Wowhead article, the Wowhead Economy Weekly, and it discussed this here, which I'll put it up for you guys to see. But it specifically says that Mr. GM, I don't want to take any credit for noticing this or anything, but Mr. GM had noticed that the Covenant Callings will have their gold reward nerfed, and not just that, but as well as there wouldn't be any gold able to be gotten off of the mission table. And that's basically what I wanted to make today's video about, is that if you want some raw gold, now is the time. This is the thing you should be doing prior to the 15th specifically. If you have nothing else to do, you should at least probably be logging in and doing this right now, because you might regret it. The gold is actually quite good, and I'll give you a quick example just from myself of the kind of gold that I make in this amount of time. As you guys are aware, I had decided that I was going to be taking a break for a while, and I was going to come back a little bit closer to the 15th, but then after I started thinking about this, I'm like, I have to come back and do this, otherwise I might regret it. So, with that said, I'll just quickly go into the example. So, if the gold missions from Covenant tables and the callings and stuff are going away, this is the kind of gold that you could be making if you just take a little bit of time in doing it. For the Covenant tables, I have around 15 characters I typically do it on. So, with those characters, I usually make, each time I do it, somewhere around 9k, and that's off of like the purples I sell as well as just the raw gold from the table. I do that twice a day. Twice a day, usually you want to have at least 4.5, usually some 5 or 6 hours in between. I usually do it right when I get home from work and then right before bed. That's enough. It takes me around 20 to 25 minutes to complete. It's really not too bad. It's where the bulk of the income comes in. But anyway, you have 9k twice a day. That's 18. That's 18k a day. 18k a day. And we're going to take how much time is left as of me making this video. There's about 20 days left. 18 times 20, that's 360. That's 360k gold I can make just doing my tables twice a day from here until the launch of, like, until the second phase of the pre-patch. But the thing is, there's a lot of other things you can do. That's really just kind of the bare minimum, easy thing that I'm like, hey man, if you have a bunch of characters that are already set up for it, you really shouldn't miss out. However, there's also something like the Anima quest, that's weekly. You know, I have 15 characters. 15 characters, it gives about 1.6k. 15 characters times 1.6, that's 24. That's 24k a week. And it's like, well, isn't that a pain in the butt to do? Well, no, because if I'm sending out my Covenant tables, that's bringing back some anima. So, you know, a lot of times they'll get 500 plus anima throughout the week. Honestly, they could, I've had them get their 1,000 in a week just, you know, easily by doing just that. So you can get the Covenant, you can get the anima that way, or the other easy way, like if you have some extra time, just doing the Zerath Mortis world boss is 500, and then doing the other world boss is 500. Boom, there's your 1,000. Take you like 15 to 20 minutes, something like that, 10 minutes probably, and it's done. So you have 15 times 1.6, that's 24, that's 24k a week. I have about 3 weeks of doing that, that's 72k gold coming in. You have the Zerath Mortis quest, and I don't do this weekly. I know it's a weekly quest. I am not going to sit out there that long. I average each of my characters getting it done about every 3 weeks. The Zerath Mortis, killing the boss, that's worth 20% right there. Usually if you kill the boss, pick up a couple things, you know, pick up a couple treasures, maybe kill like one other rare, you know, on your way out there. I usually get about 30+% done on each character a week, so I average about getting it done every like 3 weeks. That's another 15 characters times about 2.5k. As I stated, I would only be able to do that about 1 time per character, just given how I go about doing Zerath Mortis. That is 37.5k that I could be getting. And then callings, I typically, like when I'm playing my normal amount, I usually do callings on like my 4 main characters, I would say, and I make sure whatever calling's expiring, I do it. So basically on average, my 4 main characters complete every calling each week, and I very rarely do more unless I'm just really feeling like it. So even just on 4 characters doing each calling, 4 times 7, that's 28 callings. 28 callings times about 1.8k per, that's another 50.4k. So with my 360k from my Covenant tables, my 72k from the Anima quest 3 times on all characters, my 37.5k from Zereth Mortis, and about 50.4k just from doing the callings on like my main characters, that equals out to 519k that I would be getting over those 20 days, which is, at least in the US, well over 2 tokens. Now the thing is, there's so much more just depending on time, right? You have, I'm leaving out auctions, I'm leaving out if I decided I wanted to get Zereth Mortis done more often. There's a ton of gold left in callings if I wanted to do more than just on 4 characters. I'm leaving out Paragon chests. I'm not covering that. If I don't know, if I was home more, I could do Covenant tables more times in the day if I have the Anima. So the list goes on, and the reason I'm bringing it up, because it's really just raw gold, and a lot of this is going away. So that would typically, like what I broke down, that 519 just over those 20 days or whatever, like that's my normal. I'm not going to be doing that because, as I've discussed, I'm kind of okay with where I'm at, but I'm probably just going to log on, specifically because Modern Warfare 2 and stuff like that's coming out. I'm probably just going to log on and do my Covenant tables at the bare minimum. I might get some of the Anima quests done. I might get a couple of Zereth Mortis done. Quests, that is. I don't know if I'm going to even touch callings. But the thing is, even if I just did the Covenant tables 2 times a day for how many characters I have, that's 360k. That's the most bang for my buck for the least amount of time. That would take me around 30 to 40 minutes a day in total. Probably closer to 40 minutes a day with how many characters I have. And, you know, super easy, and I make well over a token. So that's kind of why I came back to do, because if that's really going away, I urge you that if you have the characters available and if you have it set up, or even if you don't, you got 20 days to take advantage of it, and then a lot of this is going away. If you're losing out on the gold from the callings, if you're going to lose out on the gold from the tables, that's a lot of raw gold we're all going to lose. So don't regret it. Get it done. One of the things that I would also keep an eye out for is like the vendor shovels. I only really do one. There's a whole bunch of other ones. Like there's one with JC, there's one with a couple other things. I like to do the treads for leatherworking, which is typically the desolate leather and pallid bones primarily. It's not that great right now, but the closer we get to the expansion, people might start dumping things. I actually saw some yesterday dumped pretty low that I probably should have bought. But people might be dumping things just getting ready for the expansion. Be ready for that. If there is a good shuffle or something, be ready to buy this stuff low and shuffle it if that's the way that you want to make gold. Yeah, shuffling is boring, vendor shuffling, you know. But, you know, if you just want to watch some YouTube videos, watch some guides, watch something like that, it is a great thing to do to just make extra gold. And, like, for instance, let's take a look at... I should have it up. Let's take a look at this right now. If I have... Let's see, Desolate Leather at 2.33, and I think it was, what, 1.72 or something for the bones right now. That there would make my, you know, this puts this vendor shuffle at about 5.4k. That's not great. I usually don't do it unless I can get 6.5, 7k. Then I kind of think it's worth my time. Point being, I think you can grab some pretty cheap materials as we head into the expansion and either use them for other things or just vendor flip. That's the primary vendor flip I do, so I will be watching that as the days go by, and if I see stuff at good prices, which I kind of already have in my head, right? Like, I know that if I'm finding Desolate Leather at like 225 and below, I'm pretty much buying it. Pallid bones right now, given that they've risen in price from what they originally were, like if they're at like 1.5 or something, I'm buying them all. Like, there's no reason not to, because I can just sit at the vendor and make 7-8k an hour. I know you're not making, you know, buku bucks, but it's still free gold that I can kind of go do something else and do as like a secondary side income. So anyway, keep an eye out for things like that. with that said, that's all the information I really wanted to get out today. It's just that if this is, if the Covenant tables and the callings are really going away, then I suggest everybody make sure that you're doing them. At least for these next couple of weeks, because that's a lot of just extra gold that you can have lying around ready for Dragonflight. And other than that, just keep an eye out on vendor shuffles. It's one of the things I'll be watching. There's other items, there's other things you could probably make a video on to try to snipe if they're put up there too low, like Strange Goop and other stuff like that I kind of have my eye on. But for the most part, those are the two primary things that if you just want to make some quick gold, do those couple of things, and I think that'll set you up well going to the expansion. With that being said, I also want to mention that I will probably put it in the description down below, but I finally did take the time to start a Discord server. It's not amazing yet. You know, I haven't sent out a ton of invites to people I know or anything like that yet. We're starting small, but I'd like to start building a community, so I'll put that down there. You guys are free to join, and hopefully we can talk about WoW and other gold making things and whatever you guys want to. With that said, thank you guys for watching. If you like what you see here, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.